Hi, friends. I'm Dana Lewison, therapist and founder of the Empowerment Collective.
And I'm Dr. Roshni Patel. I'm a board certified OBGYN and the founder of Luminate Gynecology.
Welcome to season 2, everyone. If you listen to our trailer, you know that this season is about inviting the experts to help us dive deeper into the questions that you've been asking us about midlife, motherhood, menopause, and a whole lot more.
Yes, we have been asking you all to tell us some of the worst advice you've ever received, either from like a medical professional, a friend, a neighbor. And today we're discussing your answers. And hopefully we'll begin to give you the real advice, the factual advice throughout the season.
Right. Let's get into it. There's so much bad advice out there. We see it every day on social media. We hear it from our friends and then also our listeners who have written in bad advice.
Yeah, one of the statements that's kept repeating, I get this more from patients, not really in my personal life, but in the professional world, and this is very good for our listeners, is you're too young to talk about menopause or perimenopause. Like a woman is coming in,
Ugh,
she's made the appointment, right? She's taken time off of work or life or whatever to show up. And then she's asking the question about her body and about what to expect. And then she's, oh, you're too young for that. And when I hear that, I'm just like, first of all, cringe,
yeah.
ew. Because it reads too much like, "Oh, just, just quiet down, little girl," and it
Yes.
just oozes of patriarchy, and I don't know, it really frustrates me, and I think it's also, like, emblematic of the bigger problem in the world of women where we're meant to be kept, like, kind of, like, ignorant, shy, or in the dark about a very natural and normal phenomenon. If we get to the place where we're old enough to go through menopause, that is a gift in and of itself.
Right.
Why are women just dismissed by saying you're not old enough, but you're too young or too old? Like, what are we to something? Why can't we just know the things?
We're always to something,
Yeah.
right? But it also starts in adolescence or not,
Hmm.
even before then, right? You get your period and it's like, ooh, hush, right? Like boys don't know about that. I mean, I don't know if you've watched these recent videos on social media where women are asking men for the left or the right tampon because it says L or R, light or regular. And men are like, "What do you mean? Which one? What do you mean?" They're actually thinking in their brain there might be 2 holes, a left side and a right side, as opposed to being like, "Ha, ha, ha, this is for your light days or your
Right.
regular
Right.
days." They're truly baffled. And these are grown
Yeah.
ass adult men. So, yeah, of course, I mean, it starts at a young age. Of course, when we hit perimenopause and menopause, it's gonna be a similar, like, "Shh, that's a you problem."
Hmm.
Quiet down. I agree with you. It's awful. And it speaks so much to the misinformation and how uneducated so many doctors are,
Hmm.
where it's like someone goes in for whatever symptoms they're complaining of, and it's just, "Oh, here's birth control." Right?
Hmm.
That's immediately pushed on so many people as opposed to, like, women aren't they're just not being heard,
Right.
right? They just take 10 minutes and listen as opposed to running your yap and hearing what women have to say.
Yeah, that it kind of brings up two things that I just wanted to expand on. The time it takes to like tell a patient no or to you too young or like dismiss them could be the time you use to counsel the patient. Like, I don't think any
Right.
woman is walking in expecting 90 minutes with her doctor. We
Right.
know that that doesn't happen in most conventional practice environments. And from the healthcare world, and I'm a person in that world, but I'm not every person, I consult out for cardiology, neurology, like things that are not in my wheelhouse. So if you're an OBGYN and you want to take care of women and you just like don't have the knowledge about perimenopause and menopause, you could be like, you know what? Hey, you're asking questions. I'm just not well versed in this particular topic. Let me give you some resources. Let me refer you to a doctor who does this all the time. Like we send patients out all the time for things. Why not also this? Why, as an establishment, like healthcare establishment, is there's this resistance to not to not acknowledge your limits because
Mhm.
that's like those are the experts, right? I agree with your point about social media, the funny like left versus right tampon. That cracks me up. But if you're like, supposed to know or like at least supposed to
Yeah.
share your knowledge, like do that. Don't
Right.
dismiss the patient. You wouldn't tell someone with like leg pain. Like if someone came to me with like, oh, my ankle's hurting, I would do like some assessment, but I would also be like, hey, I'm not ortho or pain or whatever. You're like, I'm gonna,
Right.
send you out. I don't know why there's this resistance to like not accept what we don't know, and like not share the information that does exist. Like, I think it's a scam to keep us in the dark on purpose, but that's
Yeah, but there's also ego, right? And
Mm,
you're making, I mean, that's such a good point you just made about referring out to each other. We tell patients, we tell our listeners, build their team, but we as professionals build our team too.
mhm,
And especially in mental health, there are specific areas that I have extra training in, right? And I consider it my expertise. There are areas that I have never touched.
mhm,
And I'm going to refer people out to see therapists who work in those areas,
sure.
right? I've hired people for my practice who specialize in areas that I don't cover. It's so important to recognize what you're missing. And if you're not going to go get further training in that because A, doesn't interest you, B, you don't have time, whatever the reason, make sure you do have people in your team that
Mm,
you can refer to. I mean, just make, like you're saying, it
mhm.
makes no sense to have such a big ego that you can't, you're like, oh, I got this. Well, no, you clearly don't. So why not refer?
Yeah, and it's frustrating when women keep hearing that all the time. You're too young for this or too old for that. It's also incomplete. Like, it's no, you're not actually too young. It's preventative care. You're never too young to know about your cardiometabolic risks, to be prepared, to ask questions. I didn't know actually when my mom went through menopause, and only recently did I have that conversation with her, and she shared her process and journey and what she did and didn't do, what worked for her. I may or may not have a similar experience. It's just
Right.
good to know. But that theme of "you're too young for this" comes up so much, when patients talk about bad things they've heard or bad encounters with medicine or medical professionals. What's good is, they showed up, right? Like I said, they made the appointments, they showed up, they asked the questions. Women are showing up for themselves and still
Yeah.
getting bad advice. I would encourage them to keep asking.
Yeah.
You didn't show up wrong. You came correct. You hit some resistance, pivot. We can link some resources below about where you can go if you really do, and legitimate resources where you really want to go. And if you really want to learn how you can support yourself through menopause and perimenopause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And advocating for yourself. I mean, the best thing I've said about these, Facebook groups is people saying, I need a doctor who specializes in X, right?
Hmm.
And I am seeing the question of perimenopause, menopause over and over again. People are asking about therapy and being more open ever since COVID, I think, like
Yeah.
more open about it than ever. And it's wonderful because people are tagging other people and, oh, who did you see? And oh, I just saw this person, they were wonderful. And that is so great that they're normalizing it. This is stuff everybody goes through. So yes, let's normalize it. Let's share resources, help people build their teams. And then also, I just wanted to add here too, when you do go to the doctor, right, recording those symptoms ahead of
Mhm.
time that you feel like you're having. If you think you're in perimenopause, go in with your symptoms so you can say, no, 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 I need you to hear me. You
Yeah.
say I'm too young, but no, no, no. This is what's happening. Why else would it be happening? Oh,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
it's happening for another reason. Fine. Get them to listen to you and try and get an answer. And of course, if they're not going to listen, they're not the right doctor for you anyway.
Yeah. That's gold though. Okay, I'm too young for perimenopause. And how do you explain symptom XYZ?
Right.
It's impacting me enough to call and make an appointment. I love when patients come to me and they're like, "Oh, I saw this on Instagram and I followed this whatever person." And I call it truth busting, myth busting. Like, I get to tell, like, help patients kind of translate what they're seeing, and be like, do you fall into this bucket? Okay, you don't have perimenopause, but like, let's really look at this symptom and this is why.
Right.
So if you're a patient showing up for an appointment and you have symptoms and you've seen something online, social media or otherwise, and you're dismissed just on that basis, I also think that's another flag because listen, the internet is not going away.
Yeah.
AI is coming, AI is part of our lives. Let's use the technology to
Yeah.
have informative conversations. No one's living in caves anymore.
Agreed. We have to go to the next one here
Yes.
because this one just makes my
Ooh.
back cringing and every muscle is cramping up. Just have a glass of wine and have sex with your husband. Bleh.
I
I need to know the context of this one, though.
Yeah, so I have heard this show like, patients have told this to me. Oh my god, no one said this to me as me being a patient, but patients have reported this to me. Postpartum, when women are like, if they've had a baby, delivered a baby, welcomed a baby in their family, and they're struggling with mood changes, depression, a change in their sleep patterns, or midlife stuff, 40s, 50s, when you think your life, career, etc., are affecting the desire for your partner. You're widowed, you're divorced, you are trying to find another intimate partner, you're out there. So there are so many times patients can hear this, like, what, and it's disgusting. It's
It's
vulgar. Just like it.
horrific. Like what? Go
Awful.
rub his feet and make him dinner and be barefoot and go have a glass of wine and go have sex with your husband. It
Yeah.
just, in my mind, it's like that. Do you remember that list? It went around for a while where it was from the 50s, I think, and it was like how to be a good wife.
It was ladies' home journal. Like, yep, yep,
Yes,
yep,
right,
yep,
like,
yep.
make a pot roast,
Hmm.
finish rub his
Yeah.
feet, give
Rinse your
him his
face
paper
before
and
he
his
walks in the door.
beer.
Like,
Right, and then, like, at the end, right, it's like, "Have your glass of wine, go have sex with your husband," didn't say sex, of course, but, be intimate or whatever it said. It just feels so like, how is that anybody's advice for
it's
any how
advice.
does
Also,
that it's not advice for anything.
it's not. It's also so dangerous on two levels, like the alcohol front
Yeah.
and the intimacy front. People don't drink. It is completely socially acceptable for people to just not consume alcohol by choice. That's number
Yes.
one. There are people in recovery. There are
Right.
people who don't want to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. Like,
Right. If the only way you're gonna have sex with your husband is through a glass of wine, we have an issue.
yeah,
And it's also saying there I mean, again, there's so much
so much
wrong with
wrong
this
with it.
sentence, but in the world that I work in, okay, if you don't wanna have sex with your husband, let's break that down.
Hmm.
Let's talk about what's going on, right? There's so much more to okay, we're not gonna just force ourselves to do something that we don't wanna
Hmm.
do. Let's understand why. Let's understand what's happening. Is it a hormonal issue? Great, then they can work with you on that. Is there tapped out, overwhelmed, holding it all together, et cetera, et cetera. What's going on? Mental health issue? Could medication be impacting your sex drive? So much going on.
Yeah,
And also pushing wine, or we're going to push wine
yeah.
to get you to do something that you're not
Might not want to
doing.
do like consent. Hello, like,
Right. Blah.
what if you and your partner, like, let's say you're with a man or a woman, doesn't really matter, but you want a different intimate life. You want to have sexual intimacy in a different way. Why don't,
Right.
that's a conversation, and sexual education, literacy, knowledge, like all those things. Definitely not. You need to seek out that training to be able to provide it
Yes.
appropriately. Hands down. It
Yep.
is, you don't get enough of it in medical school, unless that's like the direction you want your career to go in. But again, back to the see notes above. For if you can't do it,
Yes.
like, why are you giving
Right.
bad advice
Right.
for this? Yeah, it just drives me crazy. And it also, it's like it's 2026. We are technically a resource rich country. Like, we have things at our disposal. Not every patient has everything. But if you're going to a professional for support, therapeutic support, medical support, what have you, the onus is on the professional to
Right.
guide you.
Right. If someone just said to me, just go have a glass of wine, I mean, being in the, you know, health world,
Mhm.
I would speak up,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I would sit there for a second, like jaw on the floor, like,
Yeah.
what? Yes, but yes, this is where I as well would be referring out that there
Mhm.
are intimacy therapists, there are sex coaches, there are
Mhm.
people who work specifically in this area. And I guarantee just have a glass of wine is not their answer, is not
No.
the solution to building intimacy with your partner.
Yeah, it's gross and, like, vulgar and ugh.
Yeah. It's also saying the woman's the problem.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because that's not always
Mhm.
the case. Like, the problem is not always you. But again, I think the messaging to women is always, "You're too young, you're too old, you're not sexy enough, but don't be sexy, show some skin." But there is this construct built we can never achieve, so we're always a work in progress. "I'm working on it, I'm getting there."
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't think there's a ton of straight white guys worrying about their goals.
No.
They're not getting that messaging. They're
Right.
getting, like, pat on the back, "Good job for breathing." And
Right.
meanwhile
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw, something yesterday. It was a woman who was launching a book that she wrote, and someone had asked her, "Are you going to get your nails done for your book launch?" And she's like, "I wonder how many men are asked if they're going to get their nails done for their book launch." And it was just so profound. I was like, wow, that's a really valid point. Now I get my nails done because I enjoy doing
Yeah.
it. And it's quiet time that nobody can bother me. But it was that is not what is important here. This woman
Yeah.
wrote a book. She wrote a book and she's putting it out there.
Let's talk about the book.
Let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the accomplishment. Let's talk about everything she had to go through and overcome to write a book. But no, let's focus on her fingers.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the questions that women get, and this has shown up so many times. What just happened? Like Oscars or something?
Hmm.
I am willing to bet money every woman that got one of those red carpet mic in your face interviews, like, "Who you
Yeah.
wearing? Who you
Oh, yeah.
wearing?" And that question really needs some editing. Like, A, ask the boys and the girls. And then B, like, maybe it's how does this dress make you feel? Or, you're wearing red. Is that in honor of the movie's theme? Like, can we just make it more about the craft and the
Right.
choice
Right.
rather
Or
than
not even focus on what they're
wearing?
wearing.
Oh, yeah, genius. Like, let's
Let's
not even
start
talk about
there.
like, hey, good to see you. Like, you're here because you're nominated for what's her face?
Right.
Jessie Buckley, who won all these things, and now I gotta go see Hamnet and cry in front of the TV. Um, Sidebar. I'm gonna watch that movie. It looks amazing.
Absolutely.
In all my free time. But I've seen that this was a groundbreaking performance, career defining performance. How many questions I wonder she got around that versus
Mhm.
who are you wearing? What you wearing?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's, the same with who's watching your kids.
Yeah, that shows up a lot.
Right?
Yep.
And I've seen it with, celebrities talk about it when they're at
Mhm.
an award show. It's like, "Oh, who's on with your kids?" But, like, no one's asking, the men that. And I'm not a celebrity, but on a local level with friends, it's the same thing that happens
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're out with girlfriends, who's on with the kids. No one's asking the men that. No one's asking my husband when he's at work, "Who watches your kids?"
It's just another way of how big things, what we see, media, how we consume that
Mhm.
media, then kind of formulates how we think about the world around us, right? If women are just being told, drink a glass of wine, sleep with your husband, just
Right.
lie there and be still, then we go and do that and we're like, oh, I saw this funny post. Your grandma's crying because it's, 1950, she's had 4 kids and 0 orgasms. Like,
Oh, no.
I'm not laughing at grandma, but I'm just like, maybe let's reconsider the messaging we've gotten and just ask why. Why is it
Right.
normal to give that bad advice? I flip the script. I do my little, I call it microaggression feminism, where, and my parents will do this. They'll be like, oh, my husband's name is Shrit. They're like, Shrit's doing this, he's doing that. He's so good with the kids. Yeah, they're his kids.
Right,
Like,
he's the dad.
he is a dad, like, he is doing
Mhm.
the dad things, and
Right.
you're like, "Oh, yes, you're right." But that little education, microaggressive feminism, whatever, passive aggressive
I
feminism
love it. Yeah, they don't get brownie points for
for
doing what
breathing,
they
again.
need to do to be a parent.
Yeah, and the have I can't even with the wine just piece just drives me
Yeah.
crazy. Also, like, why are you assuming women drink wine? Like, what if I like
Mhm.
other drinks?
Have a margarita and have
Have a
sex with your
margarita.
husband. Now
Why
it's
is it like,
better.
have a margarita and go out with your girlfriends? Like, that's great advice. That's
Yes.
the advice I
That is
heard.
go have a margarita, go dancing with your
Yeah.
girlfriends, have a, mocktail, have a
Mm.
bunch of yummy mocktails, and go out and go to book club. That
Oh,
is my type of evening.
yeah. That's the advice. So if I'm gonna flip the script, have a glass of wine, have sex with your husband is really like go out with your girls and have a good time. That is the great advice.
Yes.
Sound advice.
Yes. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Going back to the reasons why someone might prescribe have a glass of wine,
Yeah.
what I see all the time in therapy of what people are telling me their advice and the awful advice they're getting, just relax, have a glass of wine, just relax, smile more, it'll make
Ooh,
you
disgusting.
feel better. But maybe you should just try relaxing, try meditation. Oh my God. I mean, In the history of people being told to relax, has anyone ever actually relaxed?
And you should anything, like, you should.
Mhm.
Relax, calm down, it's not a big deal. Anytime you're minimized or you should, yeah, when has that been successful? Like,
No.
uh, never. 0 times. 0
No,
times.
if someone's like, "Relax," I'm the opposite. We're going to war. What am
Yeah,
I
good
about to
job.
get mad about?
Response 5.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell me to relax. And the same with and this is what, again, I think this is women in general are told, just smile. Why are you
Ew.
smiling? Why are you smiling? Are you upset? Are you not happy? Smile. And if you're not smiling, you're told you have a RBF,
Mm,
resting bitch face.
yeah, that has bothered me for a really long time because one way it shows up for me is in healthcare and hospitals or, when I introduce myself to other doctors, nurses, etc. I have to look professional. I'm a smiley person. I think I'm generally friendly, so I'll throw in a smile. And then I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, am I too casual? Well, the smile comment is agreed like problematic for so many reasons. But women are told that it doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter if it's at work or at home or from a loved one, it's unhelpful. That's the thing. Like, even though the intention, I'm just going to give people the benefit of the doubt here, even if the intention is good, just relax, get outside, meditate. Those are like preventative things. When you're in the crash out,
Mhm.
it's not gonna work. Like,
Right.
you're at a head-on collision, and that's like saying, "Put your seatbelt on." No, no, it's already happened.
Yes, that is such a good analogy. I'm
Yeah,
going to steal that from you.
steal.
I like to tell clients if you think about your stress level or your anger, anxiety, frustration as a thermometer, 10 is just, I can't take it. Feels very, very uncomfortable. And 0 is totally at peace. P.S. I don't know what 0 on any scale feels like.
Nope.
But if you imagine all the different levels, we want to be putting in relaxation techniques when we're, I don't know, below a 5,
Yeah.
right? And that's how
Yeah.
you pull things down and start them lower. If you're putting in something when you're at a 8, you are super activated already. I mean, yes, we have to put them in because we don't want it to keep escalating.
Sure.
But going from an 8 to a 7, yes, you're going to feel the difference. It'll feel better. But starting at a 4, and then when something stressful happens, escalating to a 6 is going to feel different than starting at an 8 and escalating to a 10.
Yeah.
So, starting your day off. But man, if you're having a day and you're activated and you're at an 8 and someone says to you, oh, just relax, smile, feel better, that can put you at a 12.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, "You're not hearing me, you're not supporting me, this is not helpful. Don't
No.
you think I tried that?" All the things. I think maybe men get that a little bit too. I don't wanna say it's only women, but I know every woman has been told,
Yeah.
"Just relax and smile more." I almost wanna, like, bet money on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and, my children taught me that that doesn't work. My youngest is 3, and when they're having a tantrum, well, I'm gonna tell them, "Oh, just relax." No!
Right.
I
Right.
just I just, like, let them do their thing, get it out of their system. I offer, a hug, and then we'll talk about it later. The debrief can happen
Right.
later.
Right. When someone's seeing red, you can't talk to them. So, and especially telling them, I mean, giving advice. And it's this idea of being a cheerleader
Yeah.
also. And that stresses me out the most. I once went to this conference and the man who was leading it said that when women are overwhelmed and women are stressed, we just are like in a puddle. Imagine like a
Okay.
mud puddle. We're in the puddle and we just want everyone else to get in the puddle with us. I'm telling you about my problems. It's like, get in the puddle with me. When I'm done, I'm going to stand up and get out of the puddle. I can walk out whenever I want to walk out because women are strong. We are resilient. We have always forced to be. We have babies, right? We can get out of the mud puddle. But men, when they see women stuck in the puddle, they're like, oh my God, emergency, throw the ropes, throw the ladder, must save her. We don't want that. We don't need that. Right. And so when people are cheerleading and they're like, oh, but you should try this or you should, no, just hear me out, get in the puddle with
Yeah.
me. Don't give me advice. Just, oh, wow, that's a lot. Or, hey, do you want advice? Hey, is there anything I can do? And that's hard as a therapist. I want to fix things, right?
Yep.
But you can. That's not your job, anybody's
Mhm.
job. So How can I help? What can I do? And it could just be sitting there listening. And then that person's going to stand up and walk out of that mud puddle when they're ready.
Yeah. What I started doing, and I think this is, this is advice. If it helps you, it's advice. If it doesn't, I'm so sorry. I'll just like rant text a friend. I've done it to Dana. Well, I'm just like, I just need a bed, and I'll just like get it out, or I'll even voice text if I'm feeling especially enraged, and I just feel better knowing that someone
Yeah.
else has heard me. Surprise, surprise, women just want to be heard.
By
And then,
other women, because we
yeah,
get it.
and on the flip side, like this is about like de-escalating, right? So it's like either internal, I'm having a bad day, and this is what I need for support, or I want someone in the puddle with me, and then we'll lift each other out, but also de-escalating relationship conflict. I don't know how this could work at work in a professional environment, but with my husband, I'll be like, do you want comfort or do you want solutions? Like, do you just need to rage
Mm,
vent? Or do you want a hug, hold my hand? Like, do you just want to unload on me? Or do you want like a strategy to avoid this like snafu next time? And like depending where
yeah,
your head's at, you'll tell your partner what you need. And that's what we started doing. And it has helped de-escalate, at least in my marriage, my relationship.
that's great.
Um,
No, that's really good advice. I mean,
yeah.
well, I'll say, just get in my puddle. I don't want advice. Just get in my
Yeah.
puddle.
Yeah.
Or if I'll even call people sometimes if I need to unload, and I'll call my mom. I think I've said this before in one of their episodes, maybe not, but I'll call my mom and I'll say, I'm going to tell you a story. And when I'm done, all I want you to say is, wow, stinks, right? Because I just want to be heard. I don't want the advice, right? And she knows that, and she's going to listen to this and laugh and probably text me after. Um, but sometimes we just want to be heard. And I always tell people, if you don't want advice, you have to say that to somebody sometimes. And you also can tell them what you do want to hear. And
Mm,
that's why I like, there is no mind reading. This is exactly what I need to hear from you after I tell you this story. I'll fix it, I'll solve the problem. But sometimes it's just hard when you're stuck in that mud.
yeah. And the other technique is just naming what you see. So if you're seeing a woman have a crash out and before you open your mouth and you say the word meditation, or you should
Oh,
be like, just, are you upset? You seem upset. Do you need a snack?
right. Do
Do
you
you
need
need a
a
snack? I
snack?
think is a lot more helpful than, did you meditate today? Did you get your meditation? Did you get your breathing, your
Oh my God.
affirmations, your mantra? Snack. Give her a salty, crunchy snack. I think
That is outstanding. Carry chocolate in your bag
yeah,
for all the
chocolate.
crashing out moms.
Yeah. Like have you tried or like, yeah, she's tried it. Like she's doing the thing. She's like
She's
tracking
done
her
it
sleep and taking the
all.
magnesium and she's had 10 meditation apps on her phone. Like no woman is not trying to live her best life already. And if she
Right,
is having a tough time, I bet you she's done 5 things already to help resolve that. Just
right,
hold her hand. Be like, "Do you want touch?" Hold her hand.
right,
Don't go creepy perv. Just be like,
right.
hold your
I'm just laughing, just thinking about like, you're right. Like, we've tried it all, right?
yeah.
The 10 apps on the phone, all the different techniques. But no, you telling me to smile, that's the cure. That's it. I'm healed. Done. Everything's better. Perimenopause is
Yeah, oh yeah, I
done.
have no symptoms, and your period's regular all of a sudden, I just started meditating.
Right,
Yeah.
meditation and look, meditation can be a wonderful tool, but it is not the cure all to
No.
everything, right?
It's
Just
a
like
lifestyle thing.
HRT isn't the cure all to everything. We have to use our teams and work together and do all the
Mm.
things. It's exhausting.
Most women in our sphere or living the lives that we're similar to what we're living are already doing the things.
Right.
If they're coming to the doctor to talk about their sex life or a pain or whatever, she's probably tried something and is now trying to come to the expert. If she's having a crash out in public, let's give the advice that's actually going to help. And if you're not equipped to give that advice, refer out.
Right.
Build your, like you said, your network or your team of co-advisors support to actually help. Advice is for the person asking. It's not for you or your ego.
Right. This is why season 2
Yep.
for this podcast is focusing on what we can do, who we go to. We're bringing in so many great experts and specialists. I'm really excited. And who to go to when we need different types of support.
Yeah. And we're sick of hearing the bad advice. We will continue to help the women because that is our
Yeah.
like life's work. But yeah, season 2 is going to give us some good advice and some strategies and tactics. And one thing I'll say that we are seeing is the magic in the community, right? When you do get that good recommendation and it
Mhm.
pans out and it's the right thing for you. And there's a, I like to call this a cohort of gangster moms who are just, they've just run out of F's to give.
Yes.
Um, that woman who's, gaining a lot of traction on social media, the We Do Not Care Club.
I love
Look at her.
her.
Like,
She's
thank you.
great. Do our listeners, I don't even know if everyone knows about her, but she keeps a list of the things we don't care about that we just have no more F's to give about. And she like has a notebook and has like 10 highlighters and crosses them off and she has glasses all over her head. And oh, she's so funny.
She's
She's
so
so
funny.
good.
I love
Yeah,
humor. Like, I think
me
it's
too.
always helpful. That's advice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's changing the way we look at the stuff. We're writing our own narrative. And again, the generations before us didn't talk about this stuff, right? It was still that hush hush. And I'm sorry that they had to go through it alone. We get to laugh about it and have people like the We Do Not Care Club lady.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, that's the positive of social media, but the negative piece, we do have to weed out the
Yeah.
experts. And so this is why we are trying to do this.
Yeah, we're doing it. And I'm grateful that we have this platform. And I'm grateful for our collaboration. Season one was so much fun. I
Yes.
think season two is going to be even better. I'm just
Great.
so excited.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. All right, lady. I don't know about you though, but I do have to get back to work and do all the things.
Got things to do. I got errands and the things.
All the things. All right, because when we're holding it all together,
There are no sick days.
no sick days. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.
No Sick Days is for information and education only. It is not medical or mental health treatment. Listening to this podcast does not create a medical or therapeutic relationship. Please talk to a qualified professional for care that is right for you.